Here's a quick recap of last episode. Welcome back to this now official series of Getting to Unreal. It's now the second episode of many, and the final one for this tower. As you saw, I finally made it all the way to Seaside, the last of 3 in the Tower of Shunning Excursion, a High Catastrophic I've been grinding for weeks now. But let me explain to you exactly what side C is. Last episode, I said A side was the worst for me, but that's gameplay wise. If we're talking about my experience with it, the C side is worse than both A and B combined by miles. With some of the hardest gameplay and the worst punishment, it was not the best for this to be the most difficult side to get to in the first place. If I pass C side though, the Tower of Shunning Excursion can be defeated, and we can move on to the next tower of this journey, which will be revealed at the end. As for now, I've done none of my 5 towers to prepare for Unreal, but hopefully that will change soon. Wait though. How was the first Seaside run going? Let's see. Because of the extreme length of the grind, this will be separated into parts spanning multiple days instead of just going over one at a time. To start off here, I'm gonna tie up the loose end from last episode, my first run to side C. I was so happy to make it here, but I didn't know how much I would have to suffer to just get past the start. The first part of ToSE, the first floor of the Seaside and the one I was on of course, is very loop failable, so I proceeded to loop fail. Yeah, that jump, okay, it is no. That's the only jump that takes that long, okay. I could bear with failing it for now, but just because it was my first time. This floor is 2 soft locks, or areas that end your run when you fall. One at the end of the first layer, and one at the end of the second. In a little, I passed the first half, and I just had to do a short soft lock to get past. Is this a GBJ? Okay, we're good. Thankfully, I didn't fail there, and this was actually looking like a quick 4C run. But then I made a mistake. We good. Okay, that's a warning. I didn't learn from it though, and because of that, I lost a potentially amazing run. Now that that was finished, we can move on to day 9. The practice here is just some more B and C side practice with me learning how to not ragdoll in the dance clips. I want to focus on the run though, because I pulled off something I couldn't even do later on in the grind. This was making it to Seaside 2 days in a row. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So far, I haven't even failed 3B yet, but I got really close to failing it this run.
Oh my god, I barely made that. Yes!
Again, I did the feat I accomplished the day before, and I really surpassed my expectations. I did loop fail a little bit, but I made it to the soft lock much quicker.
Okay, GBJ 1 done. So now I can't sell with these.
Now all I had to do was not fail the dance clips. And I actually did that. I was at the end of 2C now. Again, all I had to do was pass one simple section. But something tragic happened that taught me a lesson. Unfortunately for me, I probably lost a forced C run to rushing. That taught me what I needed to know though. Always heal on nets to above 50, and on this, heal above 100. Day 10 was just an hour of practice, and more than a break if anything. If we move on to day 11, I get the chance to make it back to Seaside. I just had to take it and run.
How'd I, bruh? That's like so goofy. I didn't think.
3 runs in a row I made it. This was consistency I had never seen before. Now, it was really time to pass this floor.
And I swear if I make it back.
I kept reminding myself, dance clip late and heal to 100 on the last soft block. Apparently I didn't keep my promise, and for the 3rd time now I didn't heal enough. That killed me.
Back from the dead, little kids wanna touch your mama.
No idea why I said that either, but I think I broke my setup. I had failed it 3 times now, but was the 4th time the charm? If we skip all the way to day 14, we can find out. After making it to side C for the 4th time now, I progressed to the second half of ToSE yet again. What happened here though was sad. Even with waiting to full health, I somehow had failed a remorseless head hitter, and I had an extremely bad track record. Usually, the first time you make it to the 3rd side, you'll at least get all the way to 4C. I was 4 side C runs in, and I was trapped at 2C. I had to do something to make up for it. It was now the 15th day of grinding, and I didn't really seem to be progressing at a proper rate. I kept practicing Seaside every stream, but it didn't seem to work out. That was until this run happened. I don't even know how I was this good at getting to side C, but again, I made it all the way there in just a little over an hour. Five times I had been in this position now. I just had to capitalize on it. Like usual, the first off block wasn't a problem, and making it to the second one was easy. Passing it was not though. With all my discipline from past mistakes, I knew it was time to pass the soft block, so I tried. And I actually did it. Because there's no real threat of dying on this net, it was a free entry all the way to 4C, where I would face my first real challenge. After some really quick loop failing, I made it to 4C, and drastically improved my personal best. Let's explain what this floor is though. For me, it's split into 3 sections: the net, the outside, and the end. The net wasn't a problem, it was just hard to get past. The ending wasn't that hard either, but failing it was punishing even over a net. Why? Well, that's because of the second part, the outside. The section has about 1 to 2 minutes of gameplay, with one fail sending you straight to floor 1. After failing over and over again, it was time to pass this. Even though it was consistent before this run, passing it first time with the nerves was great for me. With some basic techniques, I made my way past the last part of this floor, and I found myself at 5C. 5C is argued by some to be the hardest floor of the entire tower. Why? Punishment. The gameplay is harder than the outside of 4C, and the floor is miles longer, with 2 separate layers for you to fall on. There was no way of passing this. Someone was watching though. Someone this grind knows very well. Baby Dog said all those runs ago, let there be flukes. And the fluke appeared out of nowhere.
What the?
6C. Somehow. This was a miracle to pass the first try. My nerves were getting so bad, but these 2 floors will help calm me, as they're both nets. For about 2 entire hours, I did these floors over and over again until I finally passed them. After that, I was on the final 2 floors of this entire thing. I was so close to just finishing it in 15 days. All that was needed now was skill, focus, and a little bit of luck. I had ended up failing the second last jump of 8C. I wasn't that mad though, because this made up for every single bit of lost ToSE runs. I was closing in on victory now. I knew it. Or did I really? Little did I know that when I got to that section of Shunning Excursion, it meant the end of progress for me. There was nothing else to explore in this tower, really. All that was needed was a winning run. The fail I had sparked a new method for practicing. I would first do an 8C to win pad run, then a 4C to 8C run, and finally I would review B-side. This worked for me really well, and it got me extremely consistent on the entirety of C-side after a while. Day 16 wasn't anything important, but I lost a really good run to my computer randomly shutting off. The clip of this was so funny, just watch.
Not gonna lie.
It was a pretty sad day for me, and it would take all the way up until day 19 to make any progress. The progress I had on day 19 though was amazing. I got 2 side C runs in one day. Yep, you heard me. Since I was cramming 2 B-side runs into one sitting each day now, this was possible. As said, 2 really great runs happened on this day. For the first, I made it all the way past the soft lock on 2C yet again, and it brought me back to 4C. If I wanted a run like last time, I would need to focus up. And I experienced finger lock at the worst time possible. I hesitated to unshift for the jump, and that made my brain just fry and make me walk off. I would make a major recovery though, getting back to 4C's outside for the second time today. Now I had to pass the same jump and everything after.
Okay.
Luckily, nothing happened on the last part of 4C. This is my second chance at 5C. With way more practice on it now, I could definitely progress again.
No, I'm not using that strat again.
So close, but so far. I just went a bit too low on the trust there. It was definitely saddening for my first fill in 5C, but I just had the hope that there wouldn't be too many more. 2 days later, so now day 21, I reached side C as normal, I passed 2C, got to the outside on 4C, passed that too, and now I was in the same position at 5C again. With my consistency on past runs on this floor, and learning from my last mistake, this could certainly be it once again. I was getting really lucky with this floor now, and because I made it to the net again, it was time to try and get past my old personal best. Now, even though this fail was my fault, this was a really dumb fail on something so punishing. Now my personal best had to be 8C times 2, so I really needed to get to 9C next time. Day 22 was great. On the second run of the day, I did the usual progression route for making it to 5C, by passing side B, 2C, and 4C. My consistency was so good right now, and I couldn't fail this again.
Oh my god.
Rest in peace to that run, because I just failed the last hard jump of 5C, and I didn't even know how long it would take to pass it again, or even get back. Well, I would make it back in another 2 days, but it wasn't all that great. Since I failed that, I found out a better strategy for it, and hope to never fail it again. Something funny that happened on day 24 was this outrageous fail, which I'll just show you.
Me actually locking, and this getting done, and then it's beats out in like 2 seconds, and then I win. Trust this was gonna happen.
The next day I would continue the tradition of failing 5C, because when I made it back on day 25, I had this really sad fail where I just walked off. Again, I would have to find a way more complicated but way more consistent strategy for that and move on. Another 2-day gap passed before my next 5C run. This time, I was actually feeling consistent on the floor, but the usual happened. That's what it seemed like at first though, because instead of some random fail I never had in practice, I made my way back to the net. Of course, this meant another shot at 8C. This time though, I had much more practice, so doing this could be possible. As soon as I failed that simple flick, I realized something that was so simple, something that saved this grind. Notice how Shunning Excursion is marked as nerve control? Well, that's what I was actually missing. Through this entire grind, I'd been telling myself over and over again that nerves help me focus. But then, when I failed 8C for that third time, I knew that my fails were actually from the nerves themselves. Now, my goal for this was to control my nerves as much as I could, and here's some things that I did to help. Firstly, I was confident in myself and forgot about jinxes. I took breaks when I needed it, and water breaks really helped me. With this, I easily got all the way back to 5C on day 28, and expected to pass it again.
It's time.
This was a really dumb fail, and it probably prevented another 8C run since I was controlling my nerves well that day. My consistency kept up though, as the next day I passed everything on 4C yet again and made it back. This could be my chance, I just couldn't fail. But I did! It was literally a 2-stud walk around. This pained me bad, and again, I didn't know if I would make it back the next day. But when that day rolled around, I did. And now that I've made it to 5C so many times, I could control my nerves really good, and I was ready to get this done with. Finally, after so many fails, I was back on the net. Within an hour, I could already get back to 8C for the 4th time now and try to get to 9C. Now back in this position, instead of being nervous, I took the precautions and settled my nerves. It was time to pass this.
Oh my god!
I did it. After 120 hours, I had conquered my new hardest tower by far. Because of my relentless practice on the final floors, I first tried 9C, which is one of the hardest in the tower. I was so happy to finally get this over with, and now I was one step closer to Unreal. So now we can cross off the first tower off our list and move on to the next one. But what is next? Well, I'm actually grinding it right now, but I'll officially reveal it to everyone in the next episode. The tower isn't that hard compared to Shunning Excursion, but it's still a great skill booster. Now, I had 4 more towers before I can finally grind my first Unreal. But with each episode, we'll get closer and closer to that goal, even if it takes a while. So join me in this road trip through EToH's 3 hardest difficulties, and let's see how I'll be able to go from low catastrophic all the way to the peak of human skill. Until next episode, goodbye.